4 fundamental subspaces and fundamental theorem of linear algebra. So basically, we will try to find application of these fundamental subspaces to some graph kind of approach and some practical approach we will see later as well. There are many application of linear algebra you will see in other tutorial as well. I'm going to present today's slide. Slide is visible? Anyone respond? Is it visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Then I'm going to discuss about tutorial number 5. Okay, so today we'll discuss about problem based on 4 fundamental subspaces and how to solve those things. So mostly there would be no theory here in tutorial class, only problem would be there. And what are the application of fundamental theorem? So coming to outline of my today's lecture tutorial. So first I will discuss about how to find basis and dimension of 4 fundamental subspaces. Then I will take one example from connected graph. There we will see that how to see loop in the graph and tree in the graph. Loop, it would be related with null space, and the tree, it would be related with independent basis element. It would be independent. So those kind of applications I will talk here in example 2. And at the last part of this tutorial, I will give a big picture of fundamental subspaces and fundamental theorem. Along with that, I will introduce Minkowski's sum. So in order to get maximum application of these species. So coming to uh, first part of this tutorial, I have taken one problem here. Here you can observe here it is a matrix 2 by 3 matrix. That means there are 2 row and 3 columns. So first we would find subspaces. So how many possible subspaces are there? So 4. First subspace is row space. So row space of A. So what is row space of A? So in a step 1, I have already described what is row space of A. Actually, row space of A, it happens to be linear span of A. What does it say that? If you try to see similarly in A transpose, what would be A transpose of this given matrix? Transpose of this given matrix, it would be 3 by 2 matrix. That means row of A becomes columns of A transpose. So first column of A transpose, it would be 1, minus 2, and second column of A transpose, it would be 3, minus 6, and minus 6. This is the A transpose. So it is finding to row a space of A is equivalent to finding column a space of A transpose. And we have already seen enough idea how to find column a space of a given matrix. So it looks very easy because column a space happens to be just linear combination of column of the given matrix. So what is the idea? In a step 2, I have given that during finding image of a matrix, step 2 was the first step, but here it is coming second step because we have to express row space in terms of column space of A transpose. So that's way. So in second step, what we are doing, we are listing column of A transpose in a proper order. And in that listing, we try to observe if through trial and hit and trial method or by inspection, if we come to know in the listing there is any redundant vector or redundant column, then definitely in order to get column space of A transpose, we have to omit that from the list. So easily you can see it in from the step 2 here, second column of A transpose W2. It is what? It is price of first column W1. So simply it means that W2 is a redundant column. So we need to omit it from the list. So we removed it from the list, and then what is the remaining column we are having? the remaining column is just W1. That means having this W1 is generating your row space of the given matrix. So row space or column space of A transpose is just a linear combination of this single vector W1. And if you take linear combination of this one, geometrically, if you want to visualize, what does it talk about? It is talking about a line passing through origin with direction W1. So you got the line. Similarly, what is the basis once you are having this row space of A? What is the basis of this row space? Basis is simply the direction of the line would be basis. So this is the basis. And you observe that in basis, how many elements you observe? There is only one element. That means there is only one basis vector. That's the dimension of row space of A is what? One. So in fourth step, we got every information regarding row space of A. What is row space? What is the basis element of that row space? And what is the dimension? So all three questions you got in step 4. So this is the step 4. Similarly, what we do, we try to find next subspace of the matrix that we are calling it null space. So in order to find null space, again we need to list the column of the matrix in a proper ordering. That means first column it will be as a first vector v1, as second column of the matrix would be v2, and third column would be v3. So we are having a proper ordering of the column of the given matrix. Now uh, it is all about finding null space. That means we try to find collection of vectors which nullified after operating A over those vectors. So that means in order to find null space, it is equivalent to solve this linear relation. It is a what? It is just a homogeneous system of linear equation. So in order to solve this system of linear equation, we have to write in matrix form. Once we are having a matrix form, then always we can apply a Gaussian elimination technique that we have already uh, done a lot of practice there in module 1. So you just apply Gaussian elimination method here, then you are getting this reduced form. This is the reduced form. So after getting the reduced form, and last column is augmented column. Always I would like to recall this. Last column is not part of option matrix. Last column is the augmented column. So now once we have reduced form of the matrix, so from that reduced augmented matrix, we can revert back to reduced system. So this is the reduced system. That means we can observe easily that in the reduced system there is only one pivot column. First column is the pivot column, and second column is non-pivot, and third column is also non-pivot in reduced system. Remember that in reduced system. And so simply, so from here you can assign that the associate uh, coefficient alpha 1 with respect to first column, it is associated with first column. So that's why alpha 1 would be dependent variable, and alpha 2 is associated with non pivot column, and alpha 3 is also uh, associated with non-pivot column. So that's where these two are free variable or independent variable, you can call it. So always in order to find basis, we have to write this one in the solution space perspective. So we know that here alpha 1 is dependent, but alpha 2 and alpha 3 are free variables. So that's why we are writing solution space in a proper form like this way. Alpha 1 we express in term of alpha 1 and alpha 2, and we are taking common alpha 2 and alpha 3. In that process, we observe that the solution space of this homogeneous linear system, or simply you can call it this linear relation is what? It is just talking about linear combination of two vector, two independent vector. Always you will observe that there is a dependency between these two. So call it W1 first vector, second vector, you can say it W2. So if you are having two direction, two non-collinear or independent directions, so what does you will get? You will get a plane. So that's where null space of the matrix A is what? It is a linear span of these two vectors. And if you do linear span, that means one kind of things you are doing a cross product of these two vectors. So you will get your equation of plane. This is the uh, planar form of the equation, or and this is the algebraic definition that in the term of linear span. So how many vector span null space of A? Two vector. this vector 210, another vector 201. So that those two vector is forming basis of the null space of A. So again, if we are willing to find dimension of the null space, so we will count number of element in the basis. How many element we observe? There are two elements. So that's why dimension of null space is 2. So another name of dimension of null space, I had already mentioned that we are calling it nullity. Nullity is a very common name for dimension of null space. So you can simply say that nullity of matrix A is 2, because these terms are actually uh, very much applicable in Sylvester law. That's why I'm introducing this term. Okay. Next, we will talk about to find column space of A. Remember that we till now what we had already calculated. We had calculated row space of matrix A. That means column space of A transpose and null space of A. There is a meaning that why I'm calculating the row space of A first and then column space of A second, because you know that it is just related to part 2 of the fundamental theorems. So that's why, because row space of A is perpendicular to column null space of A. That's why. Now, in order to find column space of A, then again we go through same algorithm. First, we need to list all the columns of A in a proper ordering. Then we will try to see through method of inspection whether we observe any redundant column or redundant vector or not. If it is just by inspection we are able to identify, then it's fine. Otherwise, we will go to apply Gaussian elimination method again. So here, through inspection, again we come to know that V2 is what? It is twice of minus twice of V1, and V3 is minus twice of V1. So V2, V3 simply you can call it, these two are redundant vectors or redundant column. So we need to remove it from the list. So we removed V2 and V3 both. Then what is the remaining thing? Remaining vector is just V1. That means vector 1, 3. Two-dimensional vector 1, 3. So this two-dimensional vector 1, 3, it will give your column space of A. So find all possible combination, linear combination of 1, 3. So all possible linear combination of 1, 3, that means it is just a linear combination of the single vector. So if you are taking linear combination of a single vector, what does you will get? You will get a line passing through origin with direction the same vector V1. That means 1, 3. That means you are getting a 2D line with line in 2D plane with direction 1, 3, 1, 3, which is passing through origin. So this is the column space of A. And what would be the basis of that column space of A? It would contain a single vector 1, 3. So now, as there is only one vector in basis, that's why dimension of the column space of A is what? It is 1. Now, we have already calculated third fundamentals of space. What is that? That one is the column space of A. So remaining fourth one is what? That one is left null space of A, or you can call it that null space of A transpose. So we will try to find null space of A transpose. What does it give? It is here. You can observe that again same procedure. You have to, in a step 1, it is you can say that obvious step this one. You have to list the column of A transpose. Remember that you are going to find null space of A transpose. That's why you are dealing with a column of A transpose. So list in a proper order. Then what you do? Then again the criteria of finding kernel space or null space, kernel space. Initially, I was using the term kernel space, and I had already mentioned that kernel space and null space both are same. So we have to what? We have to solve a, in the step 2, we have to solve a linear system, linear relation. That means I would like to take a small v. Capital B is meant for matrix notation, a small v for uh, vector notation. So we have to solve this linear equation or linear relation. Alpha 1 times v1 plus alpha 2 times V2, because A transpose is having two columns equal to 0. We have to solve this system of linear equation. Equivalently, in the matrix form, you can write it like this way: capital V. That means capital V is a matrix with first column V1 and second column V2. And alpha is a vector having first component alpha 1 and second component alpha 1. So equivalently, you can say that this V times alpha, you can write it like this way. So what is the first column of V, or what is V1? V1 is 1 minus 2 minus 2. And what is V2? V2 is 3 minus 6 minus 6 times alpha is having two coordinate, alpha vector is having two coordinate, alpha 1 and alpha 2. And here we know that we are interested to find value of alpha because alpha is unknown to us. So we will solve this system of linear equation, homogeneous system of linear equation, because in right hand side we observe 0 0 vector. So that's a homogeneous system. So what is the procedure in system, first module? You have already seen that you have to write first in term of this augmented matrix. Here in the opposite matrix, we are adding one more extra column. That column we are calling it augmented column. Then we apply elementary row operation. Through that, we are getting this reduced form or row reduced equivalent form. RREF. We got this row reduced equivalent form. So here you can observe that how many pivot column you observe here. There is only one pivot column. So first column is the pivot column, and second column is non-pivot. Why? Because second column is just twice of the first column. So that's way the alpha one, you can say that it is a dependent variable. In the non, it is a dependent variable. But alpha 2 is what? It is a free variable. Alpha 2 is free, and alpha 2 can take any variable value. So you can write it here. Alpha 2 is a free variable. So you come across pivot and non-pivot column. So you will here write alpha 1 in term of alpha 2. So that's why your solution of space, it would look like that minus 3 alpha 2, and second coordinate would be alpha 2. So we will take out alpha 2 common. So solution of space of this homogeneous system V alpha equal to 0, it looks like just a scalar multiplication of the vector minus 3 1. So that means you got the null space of A transpose. What is this? This is a line passing through origin with direction minus 3 1. Now you try to come in linear span of this null space of A transpose. How many vector you observe? There are only one vector. So that's the basis of this null space of A transpose is what? Minus, it is containing a single vector minus 3 1. And that's where dimension of this null space, it is 1. Now, after calculation, all these calculation of four fundamental theorem, we will talk about fundamental theorem of linear algebra. That means uh, in first theorem, what is talking about? First theorem of part of first part of the fundamental theorem, it is talking about uh, Sylvester law. You can easily see that what was the dimension of row space of A? It was 1. And what was the dimension of null space of A? It was 2. So 1 plus 2 equal to 3. And 3 is what? 3 was the dimension of the domain space. So you remember that R3 was, A is a, what kind of matrix? A was a 2 by 3 matrix. So if A is 2 by 3 matrix, that means it is associated with a linear transformation which map R3 to where? R2. That means domain of matrix A is what? R3, and the target space of matrix A is what? R2. So that is the concept. So through that, you can observe that this one is the first Sylvester law. That is uh, another name of dimension of row space of A. You can also, I had already mentioned that, you can say that it is rank of A. We are also calling it, because it is talking about number of linearly independent rows. And what is number of linearly independent? No, that one is talking about rank of the matrix. So that's where rank plus, and what is the dimension of null space? Here it would be dimension of null space. dimension of null space. So dimension of null space, we are calling it nullity. So that's why rank plus nullity is equal to what? Dimension of the dominant space. So you got the part one of the fundamental theorem of linear algebra. What is the one part? In part one, again we further observe dimension of column space of A. What it was? It was one, and dimension of left null space, it was one. So one plus one is equal to two, and two is what? It is the dimension of the target space R2. So that's where here also you can say that rank also what is dimension of column space of A? It is talking about dealing with a number of linearly independent column. So what is that number? That number is again rank of the matrix. So dimension of column a space of A, you can call it rank of A. And now you are coming here dimension of null space of A transpose. That means that one is, you can call it left nullity of A. So left nullity of A, and that one is equal to dimension of target of a space. These two are part of Sylvester law. That means part one of the fundamental theorem. You got the idea, equal to dimension of target space. So that means two. Now similarly we are coming to, it was part one of fundamental theorem of linear algebra. Now we are coming to part two. What is part two? So we will see the relation between row space and null space of A. So part two is here. You can easily see that what you observe here, row space of A, it is what? It is linear combination of single vector or a scalar. Simply you can say that a scalar multiplication of the vector 1 minus 2 2. And null space is what? It is uh, linear combination of these two vectors 2 1 0 2 0 1. So if you try to see basis of row space of A, then what you observe here, basis of row space of A is perpendicular to individual basis element of the null space of A. How can you guarantee that? Just do dot product. And what is the dot product between these two? You can easily see that one time first 1 time 2, that means 2, minus 2 times 1 means minus 2, and minus 2 times 0 is 0. That means 2 minus 2. It is, you are getting dot product of basis element of row space of A with first basis element of null space of A is 0. Similarly, you can observe that dot product of basis element of row space with second basis element of all null space is again 0. That's why you can simply say that row space is of A is perpendicular to null space of A. So this is making part two of the fundamental theorem of linear algebra. So you got that product. So all these things are happening in where it is happening? It is happening in the dominant space. Similarly, if you come across column space of A, what is column space? It is linear combination of or a scalar multiplication of vector 1 3, and null space of A transpose is what? It is a scalar multiple of minus 3 1. Now try to see the relation between basis of column space of A and basis of null space of A transpose. What you observe, these two are perpendicular to each other. Why? Because dot product is 0. So now from there you can claim that column space of A is perpendicular to null space of A transpose. So that's way here column space and null space of A transpose both are in the target space and perpendicular to each other. So this is completing the part two of fundamental theorem of linear algebra. Now I will talk about geometry of the last problem. Easily you can visualize. So I have given only one geometry of the domain space. In domain space, easily you can visualize where is null space and where is the row space. So null space is a two-dimensional space. That's why null space, it is coming, it is defining a plane having two directions. One direction is what you can say that it is coming with respect to 2 2 minus 1. Another one is 2 2 2 minus 1 2. And the row space is a one-dimensional subspace, that means it is talking about a line, and this one is perpendicular to this. Row space is perpendicular to null space. Easily you can see from the graph as well. Now coming to second part of this tutorial, so I would like to discuss about one example from connected graph. What does it say? So we will take a connected graph with given incident matrix. Here you can see that. So graph is defined like this way. So here you can observe that there are four nodes. So nodes taking a variable x1, x2, x3, and x4. So these are the nodes. X1, X2, X3, and X4. So you are having four nodes, and how many edges are there? So these four nodes have been joined by five edges. So this one is the first edge, V1, second edge, V2, and all these are directed. So there is a proper direction. So that's where this graph we are calling it directed graph. So we are having a directed graph, and the corresponding uh, incident matrix is already given here. So it has five equations. So due to this graph, it will have a five equation, one for every edge in the graph, and that those equations would be in four unknowns, and those unknowns are coming one for every node in the graph. That means in that process we are getting a matrix equation Ax equal to B, where A is a 5 by 4 matrix, 5 by 4 matrix, and the system is and entries of A are just designed from 1 and -1 on every row to show that int node and a start node for each edges. One for end node and -1 for a starting node. So if you are applying this principle, through this principle, you will come across that if you are, suppose you are here regarding edge 1. So edge 1, what you will get here, so edge 1 is related with node x1 and x2. So that's why you are getting equation minus x1 plus x2 equal to v1. Similarly, you will get second equation and third equation, fourth and fifth equation. So that's why you are getting a system of linear equation. So we will try to find all four fundamental subspaces of this system of linear equation and try to analyze the given connected graph through that those individual fundamental subspaces. So now we are having just recall a coefficient matrix or incident matrix. We are having this one. So first target is that we have to find null space of A. Through inspection, you can observe that x1 equal to x3, x2 equal to x. X4. So all four nodes are equal, taking equal value. What does it mean? It simply says that there are three dependent variable and one free variable. To take any one as a free variable, remaining would be dependent variable. So you can take anyone, whether you, it depends upon your choice which one you want to take as a free variable. So you can take x1, either you can take x1 or you can take x2 or you can take x3. Depends upon that. It would be totally your choice. So if you're taking any one of that, so in that process, take a simple value. So you are getting a your null space. Null space is what? It is just a linear combination of or a scalar multiplication of one vector 1 1 1 having entry 1 1 1. So that means basis of this null space of A, it is a single vector having entry 1 1 1 1. That's where dimension of this null space would be 1. Therefore, it forms a from here you don't need to calculate other subspace in order to explain part 1 of the fundamental space. If you are having enough idea about a domain, a space, target, a space, and null space, then from there you can deduct other, you can deduce other dimension as well. So from here, first we will try to calculate dimension of row space of A. So dimension of row space of A is what? It is talking about dimension of domain space minus nullity, that means null space of A. That means 4 minus 1 equal to 3. 3, it is coming as a dimension of row space of A. And we know that the dimension of row space is, of A is equal to what? It is talking about number of linearly independent rows, and that also define rank. So that's why we got the rank of matrix. That one is 3. So using rank concept, also we can say that the dimension of column space of A is equal to 3. Now, using this concept, you can find the dimension of left null space or dimension of A transpose. What it would be? It would be dimension of target space. So you can observe here, A is a matrix which map what? Which map R4 to R5. Why? Because it is a this A is a 5 by 4 dimension matrix. Order of matrix incident matrix is 5 by 4. That's where A is a, you can simply say that A is a linear transformation which map R4 to R5. Okay, so from here you can see that what is the dimension of target space. Dimension of target space is 5, and you come across that dimension of column space of A is 3. So that's why 5 minus 3 is 2. So you got the dimension of left null space, or you can simply say that left nullity. So part 1 of fundamental theorem is already over here. Just with the knowledge of enough knowledge of single fundamental subspace, that means null space of A. Now we will try to find column space of A now. So what is the column space of A? So it would be, if you try to observe that, again go through that listing process of the column of given matrix. So you will come across that first 3 columns. There are 4 columns. So first 3 columns are linearly independent, while fourth column is a combination of the first 3 columns. So that's why fourth column is V4 is redundant. We need not to take in order to span column space of A. So just linear independence is coming with respect to first 3 columns, V1, V2, and V3. So that's where column space of A, it would be linear combination of first 3 column. So that it is coming here as a linear combination. That means if you are taking 3 directions, you are having 3 non-collinear and non-coplanar direction. What does it means? You will get a space. So that means equivalent to R3. You will get a 3-dimensional subspace. So it's a 3-dimensional subspace. Column space of a 3-dimensional subspace with basis which is having 3 elements. That's why dimension of this column space is what? It is 3. It is matches with part 1 of the fundamental theorem in what we had calculated in the last slide. So that's where it is matches with that. So we are not committing any mistake here. You always need to verify whether you are committing any mistake or not. So every step you try to keep on checking or keep on validating your result. So we will now find a row space of A or column space of A transpose. So we had already seen that dimension of column space of A transpose or row space of A, it was 3. So in order to find that, you have to list the vector of rows of A, that is column of A transpose, in a proper ordering. So once we are listing in ordering, this W1 is the first column of A transpose, W2 is the second column, W3 is the third column, and W4 it is fourth, and W5 is the fifth. So just by inspection method, that 0 component test I had already discussed, through that you can easily identify that W and W2 both are linearly independent. But if you come to see W3, what is W3? Easily you can observe that W3 is coming from the composition of W1 and W2. But that means W3 is minus W1 plus W2. So that's where W3 is a redundant column. So you need to remove it in order to get column space of A transpose. Now, similarly, also you can look into W5. W5, it is a just homework. You can say that how can you prove that W5 is also a what? It is a redundant column. Okay, so you come across redundancy of W3 and W5. So you need to truncate it from the list. So after truncating, what are the remaining column? Those column would be non-redundant, or you simply can say that these are linearly independent. So this will form basis of column space of A transpose. That means row space of A. So again, you can observe that your row space is a three-dimensional subspace in 4D. Why? Because your domain is a four-dimensional space. So in 4D, you are getting a three-dimensional row space of A. With these are the bases, and so you can say it here. Dimension of, I have already written it here. It is not necessary again. Write to dimension of row space. So dimension of row space is 3. So now we will calculate last part of fundamental subspace of this problem. What is that? Uh, we had already seen. So one more thing I would like to come with some observation from column space of A transpose. That means row space of A. What we observe that here in during the process of finding row space of A, we come across that edges 1, 2, 3, it forms a loop. Why? Because these are dependent rows. Row, that means corresponding row 1, row 2, and row 3. These are dependent because we had already written W3 in term of W1, and W3 was what? It was W3 was equal to minus W1 plus W2. Remember that W1, W3, these are column of A transpose, but rows of A. So that's way W1, W3, W2, W3. These are forming a dependent rows. So that's way you are getting a loop, and corresponding multiple, it is coming in the basis of what? It is coming in null space of A transpose. So you can see this. So in loop structure you are getting. But what if you take age 1, age 2, and age 4? What you observe, that means you are talking about column W1, W2, and W4 of the matrix A transpose. So what are these matrix? These matrix you can observe that here these are, this one is W1, this one is W2, this one is W4. So these are what? These are easily you can say that these are linearly independent. So that's way these are forming a tree in the graph. There is no loop. So it is one application of four fundamental subspaces in connected graph. So further we find a null space of A transpose. This one is the last part of this connected graph. So what we observe here, we have already seen that dimension of null space of A transpose is 2. So that's where we need to list the rows of A, that means column of A transpose in proper order. So this is the listing. So in listing, what we observe that W3 again, it is a what? It is talking about uh, as a linear combination of W1 and W2, and W5 is also as a linear combination of W1, W3, and W4. So W4 through W3, you can easily observe that W5 is a linear combination of W1, W2, and W4. So you need to observe that W3 and W4, W5, these are redundant column. So if you go in row reduced echelon form, so these are just associated with non-pivot columns. So it simply, that means you can say that these are associated with free vectors. So those are forming the basis of null space of A transpose. So that's where you got the basis of uh, null space of basis of null of A transpose is what? This is the first vector having entry 1, -1, 1, 0, 0, and second basis element of the null space of A transpose having entry 0, 0, 1, -1, 1. So you got the basis, and from here also you can count and you can validate that dimension of the null space of A transpose is 2. It is already we have come across uh, at the starting of this column. Now, so from here you can summarize few things for directed graph. So what is that? It says that if you are having a directed graph with m number of edges and n number of nodes, that means you are having an incident matrix of size m by n. Then you can say that your null space of the matrix, it would be what? It would be simple uh, line, one dimensional null space. It would be one dimensional null space, and it would be generated by a specific kind of vector. What vector? So every entry of that vector would be 1. So one direction of the null space, it would be just, it is a line with direction 1 1 1 1. Whatever connected graph with any size you are taking, it depends upon that number of edges and number of nodes. Now then after that you have to calculate a column space of A transpose. That means uh, row space of A, because after once you are having idea of null space of A from A, here you can express your part 1 of fundamental theorem of linear algebra. Through that you can get dimension of remaining 3 subspaces. Now we are having at least 2 information regarding remaining subspaces. So it would be easy to calculate those subspaces. So calculate subspace, that one is row space of A, then calculate subspace, that one is column space of A, and finally calculate subspace, that null space of A transpose. So here uh, uh, very interesting. Now if you are in circuit theory, you can say that finding column space of A, it is just equivalent to voltage law. Finding null space of A transpose is just equivalent to, you can say, that current law. That Kirchhoff had given two important law. You can verify those two law here as well in terms of subspaces, that current law and voltage law. So now finally I would like to give a big picture of 4 fundamental subspaces with introduction of Minkowski sum. So here you can observe that this is your domain plane Rn, and A is a m by n matrix. That means A defines a linear transformation from where to where? From Rn to Rn. So this one is the domain space Rn. This one is your target space Rn. Rm. Okay. So in that process, you are claiming that A is a transformation from where to where? From Rn to Rn. Okay. Now try to see 4 fundamental subspaces. This is your row space of A. What is the dimension of row space of A? Dimension is R. That means there are R number of linearly independent rows. Now we are finding further null space of A. What is the dimension of null space of A? Once we are having a dimension of row space of A, through that we can calculate dimension of null space of A. What does it? It is just n minus R. So if you sum it up, so n R plus n minus R equal to n. That means dimension of domain space. It is your first part of fundamental theorem. Similarly, if you find a column space of A, it would be a subspace of your target space Rn, and null space of A transpose. This would be a subspace of your target space Rm. So dimension of column is again equal to dimension of row space of A. That one means it is R. So due to that, dimension of left null space or null space of A transpose, what it would be? M minus R. So simply you can observe here further another part of Sylvester law. That means R plus M minus R is equal to M. It is talking about dimension of rank plus left nullity equal to dimension of target space. This one is the part, it complete part 1 of the fundamental theorem. Now from this geometry easily you can see that it looks here row space is always perpendicular to null space of A. So that's where that one is completing part 2 of the fundamental theorem. And further, also here you can say column of space of A is perpendicular to null space of A transpose. So that complete part 2 of fundamental theorem. Part 3 we will discuss in module 3. So all these are picture. So one more things I would like to discuss, that Minkowski sum. So very simple kind of things you can take it. Suppose you are taking a line and you are taking summing line with a point. Then what does it mean? What would be sum of a line and point? It means that just take not a line segment, take a line segment. So it becomes what? Resultant would be a line segment with a starting point would be the point, this point, whatever point, all this point is x1, and this line is L. So line, it would have same length, but a starting point of the line segment, it becomes x1, and terminal point to of that line segment, it would be last terminal point of the line plus x1. So you can give name this one. Suppose the starting point of this line segment is A and a terminal point is B. So you can say that this point is x1 plus A, and the final point of line segment is what? X1 plus B. Now, similarly, if you take two lines which are perpendicular to each other, so what is the uh, that means one, you are taking vertical line. This L1 is the vertical line, and L2 is the horizontal line segment. L1 is the vertical line segment, L2 is the horizontal line segment. So what is the Minkowski sum of these two? So Minkowski, that means you just convert, consider line segment 2 as a collection of point in this interval. The first line. Okay, like this way, how many line you will get? Close perspective, just a position point of view, you can say that summation of a vertical line segment with horizontal line segment is what it is. It is giving. It is giving a square. So Minkowski sum of two perpendicular line segment is a square. Similarly, if you take uh, two line, those are neither perpendicular nor parallel, then you will get a parallelogram. So similar kind of concept you can define later. So okay, time is already almost over. So if you are having any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I'm going to wind up today's class. Anyone is having any doubt? No doubt. Okay, regarding attendance, I had already created a link. Go and mark your attendance there. Thank you. Thank you for attending today's class.